Hello, my name is Chris Owens. I'm a product designer, and I'd love to be sharing a little bit of interaction design on sideboard, rather a side panel of a dashboard. Mixing my words, and so it's going to be like a very simple interaction on this with hover effects going on whenever you move around. I'm going to be dropping some little tips on just little tips here and there. So, first off, before I move ahead, so I said this design is based off of another design, and I'm just going to show that a bit before I move forward. Now, this is a very beautiful design. I wasn't really going for replicating it in any way. You see that there's a lot of difference, but I had to take up some sort of layout or design content to fill up the dashboard so it looks good when the prototyping is done. So that was the idea, but my god, this is lovely. Although it's filled with lots of like a lot going on, but it's lovely with gradients and all. So we need to set up the frame that we'll be designing with, and I will click that to pick up the frame. Now normally you would want to go in there and over there and set up a preset or get a preset like desktop or something, but I'll advise against that because usually when you go to the prototyping page it's kind of cut off like this somewhat, and you have to adjust and adjust, and it doesn't ever really does what it's supposed to. But if you choose 1920 times 1080, which is the right resolution for most Windows out there, if you're a Windows user, because like you saw, there was MacBook Pro and 16, but for Windows, like Figma, they really like put us into consideration when putting up the presets. So please use 1920 times 1080. It's most likely the default on your laptop and the laptop of the developer or the client who will be viewing your design. Alright, so we need to set up a grid. Just go through that before then getting to the main side panel. So you click on this, and we'll be using two grids actually. One for the side panel by the left. So we'll put this and say left. Most people always stay with stretch, but depending on what you're doing, you need to we're going to use 400 for the weight here. So you may need to always adjust to fit into the layout you're designing for. This is good, and we're going to use another one for the right side where we have the contents in the page. So we're going to use 12 here, and for width we'll use I'm still in stretch. We'll have right, and then we'll have 100. So I'd already tested it out to make sure it fits perfectly. That's why I can get the numbers from the top of my head. So, but you sometimes will need to, depending on what you are, the kind of layout you want. Sometimes you may want a smaller side panel at the side and a bigger page. Sometimes it may be less. So depending on what you're looking for, you use a grid. And the reason why we use grid is so we can put in our content properly and align it very well with other elements of the design. Alright, so this is good. Now we need to put in a sort of frame for the side panel. I'm not using the frame tool. I'm using a rectangle actually. Let me turn this off. So you can click Shift G to actually turn that off. So this is actually a frame. Alright, so but then what I'm trying to say is, if you use a rectangle, you can use a frame. It doesn't really matter because you can actually put it back by frame selecting all the components together. And frame selection is very helpful when you're prototyping. But if you're good with objects, that's fine too. Alright, so Shift G, this isn't perfect. This is why we need grid. snaps. And now we can turn that off and use our color. So for our color, we'll be using, what was it, this. And you could just actually, while having that selected, you click on I. Do I have it selected? Yeah, I have it selected. I use the drop tool to pick that color. And so we need it to be gradient. We just do this. And I think I'm going to add one over here. Mm-hmm. But this would have it somewhat. I think I like it like this. Not bad. Now for the this, I wouldn't want it to be complete white, so we could have the same color with this. This is so I'm using this as my kind of like my primary color, and then I click on this, add that, right? But I then take it down, like bring it down, so it's much more like a whitish green kind of thing. And it's cool actually to do that instead of like bright white. Uh, Bright white works in some cases too, but I like in this. And so I'm just going to put in my content because for the page actually, then focus on our interaction, which is the main part of our design or of this video. Okay, so now when you select something and click on frame first, you're able to paste that in exactly the same position that you brought it from the other frame you copied from. So but for this now, we're having a fill, whereas we didn't have a fill in the other one. I'm not liking how bright this is looking, so I'm just going to go and do something. Yep, yep, yep. Do better. Okay, so now let's get into the side panel. Alright, so the first thing you want to do is bring the logo in and copy that and put it here. Okay, and I'm going to place it here for now. So we'll have also, so just kind of gauging from here, because you have to figure out how it's going to look while in the frame, and then maybe later on you can then make sure you make the prototyping work in a component sort of way. So you add a fill, you add 12. I'm going to, now if you drag and click on Alt, it kind of does that on both sides when dragging. Going to do that. Yeah. Okay. Am I liking the way it's going? I need to just align some stuff here. Okay. Thank you. Alright, so we have to collect. Actually, I'm going to bring this closer. I just put this here so I can use this to fast track what I'm doing. So I've gotten the icons we're using. We'll copy this and paste here. I need to change this to green. Okay, I have that selected one. So sometimes when you copy an icon, you need to click on selection colors, because this is actually off right now, and use the selection color to get the color you need. I think that's fine. It's fine as well. So we have this, and we need our text, of course. Dashboard quite big. I'm using Inter, which is like basic, um, the default for um, Figma. Okay, all right. Um, this is good. Okay. All right. So we have this. I'm just going to frame all of this now. Actually, everything here. So you right click and click on frame selection. Okay. So what we'll do now is click the button, hold Shift and Alt. We click on Shift and Alt at the same time. It kind of duplicates in a linear direction, either horizontally or vertically. Now we're getting into our components, like the actual prototyping. So we need to make different states of this button, and the first thing we'll do is click here to create components. Then we'll have to also add a variant, so because they are going in different states. So here I'm going to rename these as buttons, and so this first one is going to be my default. It's already named default here. We could leave it as default. So for my default, so what I want is, I do not want a fill. I want my text to be white, or let's say F3, and same with here, F3, F3, F3. So we're having this. This is supposed to be 12, right? Border radius or corner radius, like you say. So now we have our default, and our default has a border radius of 12. I don't know why I'm not seeing it. Well, perhaps we'll see that when we keep it in, or we may not actually see it because it doesn't actually have a fill. Alright, so let's create another variant. I want this one now to be my hover state, and for my hover state I'm going to have a fill, and I'm going to have it 10%, and it's good like that. Hover. So I'm going to name it hover, and the last is active. For this property I could actually still name this graph states. So this is where you could actually put in some, like, how each of the states should work for maybe the developers to see. So now we are going to get into prototyping this. So you come over to this side of the right panel, and you move this on click, right? Nope. So we have to do while hovering, because your mouse will be what triggers it. When you hover over it, it then instantly comes to this, and if you should click on it, it comes to that, but then you don't have to put in a click interaction yet, because we're going to do something differently. So we need other buttons. So this is just for one button, and we need another one. We actually need 6 of them. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and So we're having what now? The dashboards, alerts. I'm going to skip to finish this off. Okay, so I have hooked up the remaining buttons. I just did the same thing over and over. The default, the hover, and then the active, and connected the default with the active with while hovering, just like with the dashboard. Now it's very important to make sure that the icons you use, if you use like a solid icon, make sure you keep on using that solid kind of shape or kind of icons across board. I only made an exception with the last one, which is logout, because this is it like the this shape actually um, looks more like a logout more than the really solid version of it looks. So just for familiarity's sake. So after you're done with the buttons, you then have to put it back into the dashboard, and um, I'll copy the active because the first page, or this, seeing it as a page, is the dashboard page. Um, so do paste to replace. It's exactly the same size, so it fits perfectly. I think then I could then take the alerts, but then I'll use the default because means the rest part of my the rest buttons are not selected. So I'm just going to copy every one of them. Alert Studio. I'm actually going to do this. To replace reports. And if you're wondering why I got the icons wrong, I am a fan of Iconify. It's very robust, the amount of the types of icons that you can find there. So I just use good old Iconify and logout. So logout is going to be at the bottom, away from other options on the side panel. So now we're kind of done. But I need to do one more thing and tell you why I'm doing that, because this is supposed to be the side panel. Right now they are disjointed. You see the buttons, you see the logo, and then the rectangle behind it. It's all looking like it's fit together, but it hasn't really been grouped. So you want to select everything, right? And actually, so I clicked on shift and select this to unselect that one from the rest of the selections, if that makes sense. So but you want to actually frame it, right? This is where you want to frame it, because there are lots of, when you're prototyping, frames are your tools, and they are quite helpful. And then you'd want to make a component out of it, right? And the reason why is because if you have a other pages, right, and let's say this is active and this is on default. If you have a page like this, and let's say this is on default and this is your studio active. Now you wouldn't want to, if you made a change to your dashboard, you wouldn't want to go to, if you have like 80 pages, start changing one by one, right? So if you had a, let's say, the frame selection, copy, replace, paste, replace. So now we're having a copy of this, like the child component or a variant of the main component. So if I should say reports and say Google, I don't know how Google comes to my head. So that affects every single place you had. This is not the now. Okay, so that would be Google. If I should say um settings is now pancake, that affects every single one. And not just for text or for changing elements, right? You could also do that for your prototyping. So if I wanted to connect, I wouldn't want to start connecting one by one. If I had too many pages, it would be very difficult. So I would go to alerts here because I know that this is going to be the first one with the dashboard selected here. And for alerts, if I should then connect from here to this, let's say this is alerts, and that will be made because let's say this is default and this is alerts. Now if you should go to the prototype panel, you're seeing that every single one of them now has alert connecting to this. Imagine if there were 80 pages like that, it automatically would connect to whenever they click on the button, connects to this particular one. It's a wonderful hack that saves lots of time, and that's why it's very nice and wonderful to use components. If you are not using components, you need to start doing that more often. And so we are done. Let's see how our design or prototype design actually looks on the prototyping panel. So with this selected, you click on play and you come here, it loads, does its thing, and then we'll have, you know what, I'm just going to do this, and this is something that's also helpful. Click on the flow starting point and name it start or whatever you want to name it here, and then play from there. Now what happens is on this side you can actually see it, so you could always start from wherever you want. This is the previous one I did, this is the one we just named. Now make sure, since you selected it the right frame, make sure it fits to it, and then it's full screen. I actually like to do it double when it's facing, and this is it. So if you see, we have our interaction, and if we click on alerts, it changes, it switches. This is just what I wanted to show you. I didn't connect it back, but this is what I wanted us to have. So it seems like it's actually active. The dashboard is actually like sort of active or like coded. And one other thing I would want to say, if you're having this where you can interact with like settings and you have to come out or click out for it to get there, you could always click on control and backward slash this to hide that the Figma UI so you can see it properly. Okay, so makes sense, and that's that for our video. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one. I would actually like to do more videos like this, transformation animations, other types of animations, because I'm big for prototype or motion design in general, but I'm good with Figma. So yeah, but thanks for watching, and hope to see you in the next one I make. Bye.